He got lucky last year because Hadi was off. Samson didn't have the back to beat him. That's why he won the Mr. Olympia.
I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
Let's talk about at the top. We'll start at the top. Derek Lunsford, of course, coming in as the reigning Olympia title champion, the reigning Mr. Olympia. King Kamali, let's go back to last year's Olympia. Shoulder won from the back. Derek dominated from the back. Take us through the rest of the physique, through the rest of the comparison of the Hadi. What won Derek Lunsford the Olympia?
Hadi was off. Simple as that. Hadi was off. And Derek has problems from the front. That is his kryptonite, is his front shots. His front double bicep looks great because of the small waist. But everything else, nothing's really standing out other than his lats. He's got nice chunky lats. His front lat spread, problem. His most muscular, problem. His front ab shot, problem. Derek's number one problem is he got lucky last year because Hadi was off. Samson didn't have the back to beat him. That's why he won the Mr. Olympia. But can he get as hard from the front as he is from the side, and especially from the back? That's the issue. That's the main question with Derek.
Chris Cormier, in your opinion, go back to last year. Why did Derek win?
Well, Kamali said a lot of things that was, dead on. He's got to improve in different areas. But when I first saw him come out, it was just from the bottom of his stomach up to the top of his chest. The legs were diced in the front when he first came out, but he was the only bodybuilder on that stage that I was like, holy shit, look at that. That was the only one that I had that type of
Reaction.
Reaction to was that. And but then he started to fade a little bit as the show went on to the front, and it started in his legs, and then it crept up into the upper body where it kind of like his front was a little bit flooded, and that's where Hadi was he was granite up in here. Hadi was lacking in the glute area and in the back double bicep area. And that was the strongest suit that Derek had was that body part, that area. But turning around, he kept using his serratus obliques, boom, hitting these shots, most muscular. Don't hit the most muscular with Hadi if you're not ripped to shreds in the front. Simple as that.
Dave, let me go back to you because last at the Arnold Classic, right, we discussed what we saw out of Hadi at that Arnold Classic, and that if he brought that look to the prior Olympia, that he very well could have been a two-time Mr. Olympia. We talk about the size game, we talk about conditioning, and we talk about what formula worked, what we just saw at the Arnold circuit. What do you but let's go back to, we're going into a tangent here with Hadi. Let's go back to Derek. Again, breaking down what you saw out of Derek last year and what allowed him to win, what allowed him to overcome Hadi, who, again, in your words, he was a bit off during prejudging.
Yeah, I think that Derek can beat Hadi if Derek comes back bigger than he was, but with the same quality, obviously, because I don't think Hadi's getting any bigger. I think at his age and at this point, his physique is kind of maxed out, and he doesn't really need to put any more size on. His conditioning is amazing. As long as he brings that conditioning from the Arnold, he will be difficult to beat. I think Derek can beat him if Derek brings more muscle to the stage in the areas that he needed improvement, because he's still young and he can still make these improvements. So I think that the fate of Derek Lunsford is in his own hands. However, if Derek comes back bigger and doesn't bring better conditioning, maybe he makes a faux pas and shows up fuller and not as dry, Hadi will regain that Olympia crown. Because
Dave, let me ask you this: Is Lunsford beating Hadi in the front lat spread?
No.
Is he beating him in the most muscular?
No.
Abs and thigh.
No.
Okay, thank you. Let's go. Next question.
But Derek can win every other pose.
Yes,
but Derek can win every other pose.
But my point is, that's -3 right there, right off the bat.
But he also
It's
his
like
quarter
the
turns.
SATs. What did it
The
give
quarter
you?
turns are about
800
even.
right off the bat on the SATs. We give you
No,
Derek.
yeah, but it doesn't. Yeah, but you just called 3 poses that are the Hadi's strongest and Derek's weakest. Let me ask you the same questions. Can Derek beat Hadi in side chest and side tricep?
Side chest, maybe. Side tricep, it's close.
Yeah.
Back shots, again, it's what
Derek wins the back shots.
My point is that if that Hadi shows up that we saw at the Arnold Classic,
it's going to be difficult to beat. Yeah, it'll be difficult to beat.
And that's what Derek's been hearing. That's what Derek's been hearing for a year. His cortisol is going through the roof. Stress is going through the roof because everybody's saying if that Hadi would have shown up, I feel that stress. I can see it in his face when they post the videos of them training together. The way he looks at Hadi, he doesn't look like when you had Mr. Olympia standing there looking like Phil Heath. He made you feel like he was Mr. Olympia.
Right, but remember when Dorian won in '92 and then '93 he came back and he was like out of control. And his conditioning wasn't better; he just was bigger and fuller. If Derek comes back a lot bigger, and it looks, we can't really judge that much from Instagram because we're not seeing a full. He looks like he put some size on. If he comes back bigger with the same conditioning, I think he can put Hadi away. The problem is that what I'm having a little nervous issue about is that. What are we, 3 weeks out from the Olympia? Derek's going out to Texas to train with Hani Rambod and Hadi. I don't think that's for pictures. I think that, maybe Hani thinks that Derek is not where he needs to be at this point, and he needed to motivate him a little bit. Is that a possibility?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's hard to get Derek to move around. I'm really surprised that he would be even out there.
Me too.
I never known him to move around like that. Here's the thing too, also, Dave. How many bodybuilders? Okay, so I know Hadi had a lot of days where he nailed it, right? He nailed it.
Yeah.
Not a lot of bodybuilders in the history has done that type of muscularity and then did it again a few months later. Who's done it like that?
Right. But also Hadi is not 280 pounds on stage either. It seems to be a little easier to do it when you're not that heavy. Like Dexter did it over and over, and him and Dexter are probably in that same weight range, wouldn't you say?
But wasn't he a little bit flattish in the chest when he got to that conditioning? A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. It
wasn't like that at the Olympia.
Right.
Flex Wheeler came in '93, ripped to shreds at the Arnold. He looked good at the Olympia, but wasn't like the Arnold.
Yeah, but Flex was a self-admitted cheater on his diet, though, don't you think?
Yeah, that was a bad one to break up.
Yeah, that's a bad analogy.
But also Dorian went to an ultra shred in '92. He was way bigger and nailed it in a different look, different light. '93, '94, not so much '95.
But Dorian, Nasser, Ronnie was so big. I think the big guys get beat up a lot more when they try to do 2 shows, whereas the smaller guys tend to be able to pull it off a little more easily.
I just think when you compete in the year and then you compete again towards
the
end
of the year. Chris, you did it all the time. You did the Arnold every year.
Yeah, I did. And the Ironman. And
you can't compare Cormier to anything.
You did it, and you were fine at these shows. You got better,
So
if Chris Cormier's life was going perfect, he was going to be off. If Chris had turmoil and drama in his life, he was 1 point away from winning the Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
You can't compare Chris to anybody.
Let's revisit the angle of Derek, and that is, we are talking about his 3rd Olympia at the Mr. Olympia, right? And so much of the discussion between his transition from 212 into the Mr. Olympia was the fact that his body will no longer have to restrict. So that is a huge component. That's a huge task off his checklist now. And this is going to be the 3rd straight year that he's doing that. And again, Dave, you mentioned the fact that he's still young. I mean, he's 31 years old. I mean, he's still very much learning his body, coming into his own in that sense. I do want to, again, we could talk about whatever you think of him visiting Hani, whatever you think as far as we haven't seen any, we've seen videos, I mean, but hard to see up until show day. My question is, do you put any credence in the fact that, again, he's now graduated to year 3, learning his body, understanding what it's going to take now, again, at this level and against, a competitor like Hadi, who's going to bring a certain level of conditioning that he's going to have to keep up with front and back, Cormier?
Say it again.
Let me make a comment before he does that. This is after you just said that. You know what? It just struck me. I truly believe. I think Hani Rambod is a mental master. Also, I think he knows that if he brings Derek out to Texas to train with Hadi,
exactly, Hadi, yeah, right.
That's going to get his fires and juices going, and it's going to get, because let's face it, no one's more intense than Hadi. Chopin in the gym. I mean, this guy's an animal. He doesn't probably eat 1 grain of rice more than he's supposed to. For Derek to see that up close and to know what he's going to be going up against in a couple of weeks, there's no more motivation than you can get than that. And I think that's what Hani did that for. He's like, get your ass out there, train with this guy. I want you to see what this guy is doing, because you know what? Maybe Hani doesn't think he's doing enough, or maybe he's not hungry enough, and now he sees it up close. I think that's brilliant on Hani's part to do that.
So it's a great point, because when Hadi won the Olympia, I remember the next Sunday when they have that Olympia Sunday seminar or whatever. Yeah, Hani Rambod said that before Hadi came to the U.S. to train with him, whatever, in Iran, he was literally training 5 to 6 hours a day, every day.
Too much, probably.
No break. And that when he came over, in his words, his muscles were already like beef jerky, so he had to like turn him back a little bit, essentially. But again, my point is, again, about Derek, right? Again, we are talking about someone who's still young in this division, young in his career. He's only 31 years old. Do you think he's now learning, again, the tricks, the traits? This is his first title defense, going up against a competitor that brings that level of conditioning. King Kamali, you don't think that enters into his game plan? Or maybe he did get a kick in the butt from Hani as far as what needs to be done over the course of the last month or so?
Of course, it's going to help when you're training with someone who you think is your number 1 rival. You're going to have that fire. You're going to get in there. You're going to have little battles in the gym. That's all great and dandy. But everybody always talks about the genius and the positive aspects of Hani Rambod's coaching. He's a great coach, no doubt. But he has one weakness. His one weakness is he really, truly believes that Derek and Hadi are now 1 and 2. Nobody can beat these two. And that is a weakness, because there are some guys that are coming in. For me, a little bit off the subject, I want to see Nick Walker. Nick is the X factor here. If you throw this guy, because Nick, he has shots that can beat these guys, and it's going to make people like, wait a second, what's going on here? That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking at and Andrew. These are the 2 guys that are going to be like thrown in there. And it's going to really make people say, what the hell is going on? We got to look at that aspect. Yes, Derek going to Texas is going to benefit him, because it's going to light that fire under his ass. But there's a weakness involved too. I think, in my opinion, I think Hani is underestimating Andrew, underestimating Chris Aceto, underestimating a lot of guys out there, especially Nick Walker. Nick is going to be dangerous.
I was just going to say, even last year when they went 1 and 2, Sampson was right there. And if he would have been a tad drier, he might have leapfrogged both of those guys and won the show last year.
Well, I think it goes without saying that I think Sampson has the ability to win the Olympia, and we've been saying this for 2. He just hasn't brought the conditioning he needs to win the Olympia. If he does that, I don't think anyone will doubt the fact that he's going to walk away with the Olympia title, because he's got height. And as Lee Haney always said, good big man always beats a good little man.